Welcome to AstroEnergy with Astrologer Angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the AstroEnergy Show on Blog Talk Radio. Today is June 28th, 2016. My name is Shelley Overton, and I'm an astrologer and artist in Orlando, Florida. So I want to welcome you, and let's see what we've got going on today. We're just going to jump right in. There's been so much going on astrologically, and I find it really interesting that I assign the energy of Capricorn to England, and what I base that on mostly is how when things affect Pluto in Capricorn, actually, I'll back up a little bit. What I base it on is the revolution, the American Revolution. And that is because obviously it was a very significant event in history. And the two places that were affected were America, or the land we know as America, and England. So interestingly enough, we have the energy of Venus opposing Pluto, and the Sun is moving into an opposition with Pluto in Capricorn, and Mercury also is going into Cancer opposing Pluto in the next couple of weeks, actually probably sooner than later, and we'll get to that in a second. But definitely the energy going on with England and the election, all the situation, I'm kind of concerned. I'm interested to see how that's going to go because at the time, of course, Mars was retrograde, and of course, he goes direct tomorrow, and that means he's going to go back over that same spot. So I do believe there's going to be another election, and if there isn't, there's going to be obviously already a very strong push towards another election, another vote, I should say, not an election. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably not an election. I think elections are when you choose a person. But, another vote on the whole matter. So, yeah, lots of upheaval there. And then, of course, we also had the issue a couple weeks ago in Orlando, and Mars is going direct, and it's going to trigger similar energy around Orlando, or at least that aggression. So let's get into a little bit of what's going on with the planets, and then I can also talk to you about all the chaos going on. So right now in Orlando, we have a 4-degree Virgo rising, and I only say that because it kind of gives you a grounding as to what I'm talking about instead of just like throwing out, the planets are here and there. I'm looking at it from a Virgo standpoint, which is also kind of interesting because I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, and Jupiter happens to be right on my sun, within a degree of my sun. So we have the North Node at 15 Virgo retrograde, Jupiter 16 Virgo, and he's also right next to the North Node. So that is interesting because that's a lot of fortune, and it's kind of like the energies that are being triggered right now are going to be significant, but they will help push us towards growth and understanding, and it is definitely a lesson for humanity and for individuals depending on where Jupiter falls in your chart. But that connection just tells me that, yes, it's a difficult time, but it is for healing. Because of Jupiter and Virgo, it is the energy of expansion around healing and understanding. And now that Jupiter's direct, he is definitely saying, okay, it's time to roll your sleeves up and get to work. And the North Node, I talk about the North Node, but, it shifts a lot, it changes signs, and everybody has a different North Node in their chart. So the North and the South Node are points in the sky near the moon. They're the nodes of the moon. And so where they fall, the South Node, that particular distinction is what we bring in from a past life. So collectively right now, and anyone born in the near future will have a South Node in Pisces. So that is children being born and triggering people who are already alive with that understanding of what is good for universal love, for the universal whole of humanity. And where are we going with the information that we're gathering and what we've known? It's also energy of spirit and spirituality and religion. So we may be inclined towards a meditative state of mind, towards just kind of checking out of details. We may find that we're drowsy, on top of the fact that the South Node is only 4 degrees off of Neptune. That means that it's just intensified. It's, this energy is really strong right now, where we're getting very, very clear dreams. I mean, I had an amazing dream last night. I can't remember it very clearly right now. I'm sure if I thought on it, it's kind of right on the tip of my thoughts. But I remember being in the dream and just being so impressed by how clear. Oh, I know. There were other things going on in the dream, but I turned around and I was in a cop car, and something was going on in the car, and the police were trying to help the situation, and I ended up inside it. Oh, and there was a small child that was found. I mean, I'm not going to get any more details about that, but the child had a handicap and was in the car with me. And I remember feeling like we needed to protect ourselves somehow. And I turned around and noticed very clearly this gun that was tucked up by the side of the window, like where the ledge generally is behind you in a sedan. There was a ledge, and then it was tucked in behind there, so that if something happened, the police could quickly grab it and pull it out, and it was right there. And I just remember that the clarity that I saw that, and obviously that type of dream revolves around, pardon the pun, but revolves around safety and feeling in control and feeling power over your environment and what's going on. So pay attention to your dreams, because right now they are really talking to us, like, very clearly. I mean, if you write them down, you will get more and more information, and you'll remember them more clearly. But I have such clear, lucid dreams a lot of times. This is just an extremely intense time for me for dreaming and visions. And I guess I'm getting off on a little tangent, but I do want to talk about this, that Neptune can give people, depending on where it is in your chart, a very strong sense of quote-unquote imagination. And I say that in quotes because imagination, to me, is very keyed into the collective and very keyed into the idea of having information come from the other side. So we call it imagination because it's outside of our linear realm. But really, when you think of spirit and you think of an expanded consciousness, it isn't out of our realm. We have access to that, and we have so many things that we could make reality if we really understood the connection to dreams and spirit life. So when you have an imagination, to me, it just means that you're keying in more strongly to the other side, into your spirit. So I've got my chanting beads in my hand. I don't know why I have those, because I was doing it right up to the last minute here. So when you key into your dreams, you really are able to find out new information about yourself that you might have kept hidden, which is the whole idea of Neptune. It's the 12th house ruler, and it keeps things hidden from you. And then when he goes direct, or when he goes retrograde, is when he's got more clarity. And then when he's Neptune, the planet Neptune, and when he's forward, it can be a little bit more bogged down in that dream world, in that after hours world, in the world that we deem imagination. But I personally believe that it is something that is given to us from the other side, the collective consciousness, and even spirit, who is in spirits or entities, that their whole purpose is to give us information in our lives and help us in this realm, because this is a difficult realm to live in. The material world, it is a lower vibration energetically to get us grounded and in our bodies and keep us here. And so, it's any help that you can get from spirit is welcome in my book. So the South Node right now is bringing that in. The North Node in Virgo is saying, okay, I understand that for you it's a very dreamy, intangible thing. But the North Node wants us to be grounded and understand the details and be in the physical. And what the North Node does is it helps us transmute the energy that we bring in from past lives, where hey, this is familiar. This is what we know. This is how it should be because I'm familiar with this. But the North Node says, yeah, but you're getting bogged down in the old story. Here's how you can bring in a new energy and springboard into a new life. And so that's what the North Node does. The North Node in Virgo is helping us understand the details and the work situation and the tangibility of the physical experience and help us understand aestheticism, being an aesthete, which is giving up a lot of worldly goods and doing things for the better of the whole, which is a Virgo mentality, is service. So we're being asked to be of service. We're being asked to heal. And Jupiter is expanding that story, is expanding those words for us in our world. So if you're feeling that your personal job and the way you look at your career is not fulfilling, Jupiter in Virgo is triggering that, and it wants you to look at that. It wants you to understand what you can do to make that shift and to be on the right path and to really start to look for yourself, what's fulfilling to yourself, without giving up that altruism and helping others. So Jupiter is really potent right now, being in opposition to Neptune. He is in conjunct the moon today. And let's see what else. He's square to Saturn at 11. It's a parting square or an exiting square. It's not as strong. It's 5 degrees away. So for Jupiter, and it's only 4 for the North Node. But their story has been very apparent with expansion and also bringing in the opportunity for education for you and for teaching for you. So that's, I mean, you're going to hear that with my readings, especially people who have a lot of those planets in the 3rd and the 9th house, because those are the houses that rule education. So Mars is in conjunct to Uranus and the moon. The moon is going to be exactly on Uranus here in the next couple hours. He's at 18 and Uranus is at 24 degrees of Aries. So throughout the day, I should just say, throughout today, you're going to feel an extra added boost towards self-promotion, towards entrepreneurship, towards making the shift, making the change. And I can guarantee you, even in my life, there is such a strong push towards that entrepreneurial spirit where I can do this, I can sell something, or I can market myself or brand myself. I spent all day yesterday, moon just went into Aries yesterday, spent all day yesterday redesigning my personal website under Shelley Overton. And it's not up yet, but I'm going to try and finish it today. But it's quite a maze of links. So once I do that, it's going to come together and be cohesive. So that's where we're putting our energy. We're wanting to find something that expresses who we are and helps us grow and helps us get a foothold in the marketplace. Mars retrograde in Scorpio, 23. He goes direct tomorrow. He's definitely slowing down. There's some intense energy with his interaction with Uranus, 1 degree off of Uranus. So he went over Uranus and he's going back over Uranus. And this is the final pass, well, I should say not directly, in conjunct. So inconjuncts can be the burr under the saddle, but when you have Uranus involved and Mars involved, it's going to be more like the bomb under the saddle. It's just really intense energy. It's very unexpected lightning strike kind of energy or bombs going off. Mars is extremely frustrated. I personally have Mars in my 1st house, so I completely understand the frustration Mars is giving us right now with expression of the energy. And in Scorpio rules how you are valued to other people. And so it can affect finances. It can affect joint finances if you are married. If you're in a partnership, it can affect your finances based on that right now. But it is about your value in a situation with other people or within a partnership as well. And so you're feeling retrograde, and especially at the last point of that retrograde before it goes direct, is the moment of shift. It's a moment of that intensity where it's like, I can't freaking do this anymore. This is the end of my patience. This is the end of my ability. I am being restricted. I am being thwarted. Nothing I'm doing, taking action, is manifesting what I need it to manifest. And that can be some type of decision in a lawsuit in your favor. coordinating something with another person that helps the two of you together financially. It could be insurance, taxes, research, anything where there is a solution needed. Scorpio is the one that seeks out problems and tries to find the solution. The Scorpio energy is always looking for the problem so that they can find the solution, and both. So they seek out the problem and the solution. So they're very high contrasting or dramatic. So we're going to see things that are dramatic right now. Mars taking action, Scorpio, dramatic, life-changing, life-altering energy because it is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is opposite the Sun and Venus conjunction now. He's closer to Venus. Venus can be women, mothers. Venus in Cancer, definitely mother energy coming in. And a major shift or an opposition, I would say that in the last week I had an issue with my mom, and I actually left a restaurant because I couldn't take the same old story with her. And I think it made a big difference. I have shifted on some level how I interact with her, and I see that she's shifted a little bit how she interacts with me. And I think that we're respectfully living around each other right now. I've never had a really easy relationship with my mother, for sure. But that kind of energy is shifting right now. And then when Mercury comes in, it can mean that there may be another opposition. But what it is it's the parent energy. It's the father energy or the structural energy, and the softer, intuitive, emotional energy that needs the structure, and whatever situation you've had that is around boundaries with parents is coming up right now. And when Mercury comes in, it could mean that there is another intellectual disagreement or fight surrounding that. But it is profound because we've already had Venus opposing and, had 3 more degrees of Venus opposition before there is no more opposition. Venus will move on. And then the Sun will oppose at 16 degrees, which is right around the 2nd of July. And let me see. I'm just going to double check it. So, and Venus is going to go really quickly too. Where are we at? We're at the 26th. No, 27th. 28th. Oh my gosh, this month is going so fast. My mom's birthday was just this week, so I'm kind of using that as a demarcation. So Mercury will be in opposition around 16 degrees, so the 8th of July. So the next week, definitely building because Mercury goes in the last day of June. So the 30th, day after tomorrow, I think it is. So we're going to have a pretty strong, intense energy. Let me just double check here. Mercury, Venus, Mercury. Yep, 29th at 7:24 p.m. And the moon enters Taurus at 6:03. So both the moon and Mercury have changes. And then literally 14 minutes after Mercury goes into Cancer, Mars goes direct, which definitely means watch out, Shelley, because a lot of Mars in Cancer energy in my chart. So anyway, so we're going to have some really strong, for the next 2 weeks, I would say, the energy between Mars going direct in trine to Sun and Venus in Cancer, and then Venus is going to go into Leo fairly early in July. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming up, and wherever that falls in your chart, that means that that's triggered. That's going to be heightened, and definitely trines can be a little burr under your saddle, or it could be, something that you don't want followed immediately by something that you do want, and it's just like moving it out of there. So definitely coming up, I would caution you that if something doesn't go the way you want, just keep pace, keep going, and look for the thing that is the benefit following that. And then, I don't even know if I've gotten to everything. I think I have. Saturn is in conjunct the Sun-Venus aspect right now. And so it could do with real estate or moving or education and travel and people of other cultures and connecting to them in your home life. So anyway, I think that pretty much covers it for what's going on currently. And as far as what's going on in the world, definitely with Mars going direct, we're going to have kind of a reliving of some of those issues and an altering. I want to say an altering or a correction. That's really the word I was looking for. So we're going to have a correction of events, so to speak, that we've been experiencing with the Mars retrograde. And definitely the Mars retrograde feeling stifled, feeling like, well, just look at Scotland. All of Scotland and London voted to stay in the EU, in the European Union, Economic Union. I don't know which one it stands for. I think it's European Union. Anyway, and the majority voted to stay, and all of the outlying areas in England, for the majority of them, they voted to leave. So there is a disconnect between the ideology with a whole country, a whole part of the Great Britain Union. And so now I've heard online that there's a potential that they're going to leave or attempt to leave Great Britain, United Kingdom. That's what I'm looking for, United Kingdom. So it's really interesting to me, united, the European unionization. And so that's definitely coming up with Mars in conjunct Uranus, which rules unions. So we're feeling that deep emotional disconnect between the Scorpionic Mars and Uranus, which is about the union. So going forward, definitely the next couple weeks, we will see a shift in what's going to happen. And they probably will leave, but I'm guessing Scotland is probably going to leave too. But we'll see, because there's that strength with Pluto. Pluto is retrograde for quite a while. So when Pluto goes direct, it's probably more likely that something will happen with Scotland with that energy. Especially when Pluto gets closer to 23, they're going to feel it again. And I'm guessing that's probably when we'll see something more with Scotland and wanting to separate. Although I'm pretty sure they had that vote just last year. I should look that up, because I know that they voted. I could have sworn they just had a vote on leaving, and it was turned down. But this could reinitiate that argument. And 2020, which is a huge year, and I mentioned that in other shows. 2020 is when Saturn joins up with Pluto, and we really wrap up a lot of the stories, or come back to where Pluto was when the country was first founded. So there's going to be a lot of England/American issues that are coming up as we get closer and closer to that year. So 2020, the year of vision. All right, I think that pretty much addresses what I was going to talk to you about. Everything that's been going on definitely is going on in your own personal chart. I've actually made a pact with myself to try and not get too carried away, although yesterday I've been having headaches, and I know that's the stress of feeling these conflicts. I definitely have taken them on into my body and have been having these headaches and even migraines during the course of these planetary inconjuncts going on. There are quite a few of them. So just knowing that Mars goes direct, and we do still have about a month of Mars in Scorpio before he gets back to Sagittarius and then joins Saturn in Sagittarius in later August. But, that's wrapping up those stories and really getting a handle on our emotions. So those are the things that you're going to be seeing in the next month. So I've got to write the horoscopes, and hopefully in the next week I will get those up. But we're going to take our first caller. So 207. Hi, 207. How are you?
Hi, Shelley. Good morning. This is Tom. I'm calling from Maine.
Tom. Hi, Tom from Maine. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was born January 27th.
I've got your information.
It's all good. I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, what would you like to ask today?
Well, I'm planning a trip, possibly a temporary relocation in residence.
Okay.
Like in 9 days.
Awesome. Do you already have everything set?
No.
No, not at all, huh? Do you know where you're going?
Yes, I do. I'm going down to New York.
Okay.
I just
New York City?
The outlying suburbs.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get a place to stay, and I think that's going to work out just fine for me. I won't know until the next couple of days. But I just
Right.
wanted a little insight. What's going on?
Okay. Well, Jupiter's direct in your house of romance, creativity, and children, and that also, by how I do my readings, the house after home and family. So it would be
Okay.
the house that rules where you go to, and definitely with Jupiter, that's real estate. So I think it's going to be something practical and maybe a little bit small, just because Virgo tends to be a little bit more withdrawn in energy.
Okay.
So if you're looking for something, it might be less than you would necessarily like, but it's going to have to be a little frugal for the time being. Okay.
Okay.
I think that you definitely have some more potential for expansion in a different place down the road, especially when Saturn gets up in your house of money, joint finances. That's going to, when you get closer to your Saturn return, that could be where you actually are able to buy something for yourself. So that's going to be 2018. You're going to feel more of that energy. Okay. So
Yes.
initially, yeah, probably something a little bit more frugal, a little bit, not as well, it might be cozy because Virgo knows how to make things cozy, but it's not going to be sprawling. No, you might, especially near New York City, just the fact that it's near New York City, it means that you're going to probably have higher rates on where you're trying to move. So you're going to have to probably, go for less than you would where you are. Yeah, and Neptune retrograde. So what specifically about the move are you wanting to know?
Well, see, I was going to New York and meet some people, and then go and get a place in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That's what I'm really looking into.
Okay, so it's kind of just a transient thing. You're not planning on being there for a while. Okay, that would be fine because it'll give Mars a chance to get up and moving. If you stay maybe a month, then you're going to have Mars close to your Jupiter. You're wrapping up some stories. Now you're divorcing, right? Or you did divorce?
Kind of both.
Okay.
It's not finalized yet, but we're talking.
Okay. Mars going on top of your Jupiter is kind of like the last part of that story. And that's going to be through the end of July. So really, you're probably going to end up getting more money by the time Mars gets over into Sagittarius. And, of course, the Mars Saturn conjunction in Sagittarius is probably going to be what you're looking for to really wrap up the finances around that. And let me just look. I'm lisping. I don't know what's going on with my tongue today, but it doesn't want to work for me. Hang on a second. I'm just trying to see when. So it'll be the 24th of August when they come together. Yeah,
okay.
But Mars will be right on top of your natal Jupiter the last week of July, so 24th through the 30th. And Mars on your Jupiter means there's a huge expansion of information that's coming your way. And really, I think it's kind of a watershed moment for you. It's going to be that moment where you're going, oh, and I got chills with this. It's like, oh, yeah, I see what I did and what she did and how it was in my best interest to learn. And I think you'll really get a handle and a grip on what it meant, what that relationship meant, and all of the ins and outs. It'll be like a culmination. Pardon me?
I'm getting that coming in now.
Oh, awesome. Wow, that's really good. So, yeah, even from now until, just all of July, I think it's just going to be this huge time of, you know what, I did so much, and you probably feel this way, like you just did the best you could, and it just never was going to culminate in what you really needed it to be. Mars, you have a Mars opposition in your chart right now, and it happens to be right on your rising sign and descendant. So in your chart, you have Mars exactly on the horizon when you were born, and Jupiter was just going down when you were born, and Mars, when it goes direct, will be touching on that Jupiter for you. So, yeah, it's really a life thing for you. It's about understanding your value in relationships and of yourself, specifically, and how you take action and how you learn and grow and have freedom. And a lot of it is like there's a lot of restriction that you had in this relationship that you may not have realized until you get out and on your own again. And then it'll be like, wow, I forgot that I wasn't playing like I should have. And I would recommend that you do things that are playful really strongly, like the moon Uranus conjunction in the 12th, and then Mars conjuncting Saturn in Sagittarius in your 7th house are really about bringing in the element of play into your relationships and being childlike, that finding and rediscovering things that you hadn't thought about in years and really acting on them. And you're a person with Venus and Aquarius who desperately needs to have, to be curious. Fun. Pardon me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're an inventor.
Yes.
Say that again?
I said yes, and I also need to have fun.
Yes, and you haven't had that. And you've got Mercury and Saturn both in Capricorn in your chart. So it makes it a little bit more, you have this sense of responsibility that makes you an old soul. It makes you an older person trying to be responsible for everyone else. But as Mercury, your natal Mercury is going to be hit by Pluto as it gets to the later degrees. So in about 2 years, Pluto's going to be right on your Mercury. And that's a huge shift and change in your mentality. And it definitely is like a wake-up call for your career and for things that you really were here to do, and how you express your thought. I want to say, I don't know if you are a teacher or are interested in the whole educational thing is really big for you, but it can also, and I don't know if we talked about this before, relate to your Saturn in your 8th house and the death and rebirth also in Capricorn, and Mercury in Capricorn and House of Education with Pluto going through there is all about something connecting to the elderly. Did we talk about this before?
No, I don't believe we had.
Okay, definitely you have some, okay, so there's both sides of the coin with this. Mercury in Capricorn is about you align your thought processes with the energy of Capricorn, so it's about tradition and ownership of situations and taking ownership that's even beyond what is yours to take. And maybe doing that, it probably shifted to being just a sense about having to own a situation into more being about, if I stop doing this, what's going to happen? And it's kind of fear-filled. And as Saturn moves closer to Capricorn and as Pluto gets closer to your Mercury, you're being asked to challenge the places where you've gotten in a rut, okay? And it can also help you expand by starting to teach things. I think that when you teach, you get more grounded and you start to use the process of thought instead of going over and over and over the same thing that makes you worry. You start to talk it out and understand it through the process, which is what Pluto's going to ask you to do more and more.
Okay.
So that being said, that process can either mean you're teaching other people as the authority figure, or it can mean you are also connecting to those who are more elderly and you're wanting to do something for them and getting them out and maybe, hey, let's go for a walk, like going to a senior home and saying, I'll go walk around the grounds with you. Let's do something. And it just helps you ground. It helps you process better. And I think that as Saturn moves into the next segment of your chart, which is the money and the legalities of ending the marriage, that is going to be triggering more of this need to be closer to people who are older, to the wise energy. And it's really getting you ready for the next phase, which is coming in 2020. When Saturn, actually 2018 is when Saturn moves into Capricorn. You'll have your Saturn return. And then by 2020, it'll really be off to the races. Like you'll really have a more fleshed out, and I get chills with all this stuff I'm telling you, more fleshed out view of how you're going to interact in the next part of your life. So
this is all just preparatory work.
Yeah, a lot of it is. Right now, because I'm telling you, 2020 is kind of like go time for everybody. That's when Saturn joins up with Pluto, and Saturn is ownership. Pluto is major life change, and Capricorn is going to connect us to what's old and then prep us for when Pluto goes into Aquarius. Just after that, by 2023, Pluto's into Aquarius, Saturn's into Aquarius. So, Saturn's been kind of going faster around the zodiac in other signs, but as he joins up with Pluto, and then they both in the next few years after that move into Aquarius. That's really a huge demarcation for the next phase of humanity. And so people like you with Saturn in Capricorn, you're really having a lot, especially when Pluto was touching your Saturn, back when it just went in around 2008. That was huge for you, because it's like you had a huge wake-up call about where you were stuck in a rut. And I like that stuck in a rut or dogma. It's the same thing. Dogma, the dogma of beliefs. You're dogmatic, like, oh, this is how it is. It's how it's always been. Pluto doesn't want you to be complacent. Pluto wants you to change and to really see different angles and then come to a conclusion and shift and change, make that shift, make that change. So come the next couple of years, when Pluto's coming up on your ability to think and reason, he's going to really hit you where your dogma is, which is your thoughts and your thought process and the fear that you have. And it's about owning what you have to teach humanity, what you are giving. So you may end up going to school and learning some of that stuff too. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
new stuff coming in for you. Yeah.
Yes. So mainly everything's going to happen in 2018, and from 2020 it's going to just expand.
Yeah, from 2020, it's really the shift from the old guard, the hierarchy and hierarchical thinking, into more everybody's doing what they need to do for their own happiness, and we're learning how to bring that together as really a unified world. And that now, instead of it being somebody in authorities telling us how to live, we're saying, no, we're autonomous and we know what we need for our lives. And then everybody starts to work together. And this is an idealized version of it. Of course, it's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be chaos, because Capricorn is the tradition and very staid and very worn in the past. And Aquarius is very, it's eclectic. It's like a radio tower picking up signals from everywhere. So it's from a Capricorn perspective, it's very chaotic, but from the children born with Uranus and Neptune in Aquarius, it's the norm. So those children are getting older and older. Like my son was born with Sun and Uranus and Neptune all in Aquarius at like 1 degree. So, wow. and a 0 degree Aquarius rising, like this kid was hardwired for the shift that's coming. I said shift, not the other word, but it could be mistaken for that as well. So, but yeah, it's really the old guard versus the new, and the new children coming in that are growing up, becoming adults. They're hardwired to understand this. Like they're on the computers, they get entrepreneurship, they get following their own inner voice, because that's what they came in to do, and they're helping teach those of us who don't necessarily have as much of that strong Aquarian energy. I personally have a huge Aquarian energy in my chart, because Uranus is just off of my Sun and my Pluto and my Mercury, so I'm very in tune with the Aquarian energy, but a lot of people aren't. So yeah, you do have a ton of Aquarian energy up there in your midheaven. So you're going to make, and interestingly, and this is the last thing I'm going to say because I got to go to the next caller. Oh, actually, I'm breaking the next caller real quick. You have, when that shift occurs, it's going to occur right around your Sun. So there's an ego, but you've got Chiron at 21 Aquarius. So part of your life wounding was that you are a channeler and you understand this information that comes in very rapidly, but in the spotlight or in your career, people haven't appreciated it as much. And part of that is because you have Saturn and Capricorn, so you're kind of pandering more towards the old guard and the old way. But as Pluto goes through that part of your chart and then hits your Sun and your Venus, it's going to trigger some of those feelings that, people didn't pay attention to when I had this genius. And that's really a huge part of your lesson, because those planets are in the house that Capricorn rules, which is the 10th house.
Oh, okay.
So all of this part of your chart is really, there's like a huge story going on with your Capricorn Aquarius in between your partner, how you interact with your partner, then how you learn and understand things, and ultimately how you earn a living as a career. You need to be an inventor. You need to channel and express what you channeled. Like this whole shift for you is going to be around expressing yourself as a person and individual and autonomously. So, and, really having your own personal power given back, but you have to face some of those wounds. But that's a
Yes.
long ways off. I mean, Pluto won't even get there for probably 17 years. So
Wow.
it's a ways away. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting back on the roller coaster eventually.
Eventually, but as we all get to the new place. I mean, I'm born in the 60s and you're born in the late 50s, so a lot of how we came into this world was during the upheaval of the early 60s, and when it manifests, it's going to be like the culmination of our life and our life purpose to see the new shift happen and change, and that's kind of what we're geared towards. So a lot of times we've gone through our own personal upheavals in our generation that will culminate at the end of our lives, and then we'll have the old wisdom will finally have a place, and it's almost like by the end of our lives it'll be like the denouement. It'll be that, okay, this is what I came to Earth for, to have all this wisdom and to finally see that the Earth has become what I always knew it could be. And that's kind of where we're at in our world. So you're actually a little before I was born. You're 5 years older. So you're feeling a little more of the Capricorn energy where it's like, okay, I have to understand where we've been. And my energy is probably more like, could we get there already? So, you're going through the transition in a different way than I am. You're going through much more about connecting into the ideology of the generation that's now getting elderly and having to understand why everything they knew is not necessarily how the world is headed. That they are really kind of the end of the golden age of hierarchy, and it's definitely shifting to, we need to be appreciative of everyone's differences, and that's really what Aquarius is all about, is appreciating the differences we have. And it's a hard shift from I know what's best for you to, oh, I appreciate that you're different from me, and what can you give me? And that's what we're doing. So, and we need it so desperately. I mean, being in Orlando, that's all what Orlando. So there's a reason I'm here. I mean, I may have mentioned it last week. I was 2 miles from Littleton when Columbine happened. So to live through it again, it's like, how many people in this world, other than like Middle Easterners maybe, or people in war-torn countries, but how many people move from place to place and go through two major events that are in their community in one lifetime, two major mass shootings? It's just like, okay, there's something that I am connected to that is part of my realm. So, you see the stories in your chart, and you're definitely part of the realm of trying to understand the old guard and maybe helping them do their wrapping up of their stories. And I definitely think with Saturn and Capricorn and its life and death, you would really do well to be connected to the elderly in some capacity. And it might also mean that you get a job in for the time being in something that is more traditional, like a bricks and mortar office job, because Saturn and Capricorn is about that. That's also something you came into this world to understand. So, okay.
Okay, I'll let you go. You only have 15 minutes.
I'll get to them. I'll get to everybody. Okay. Thanks. Take care, Tom.
Can you put your website in the chat room, please?
I will. So thank you for the call. I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, Tom. Thanks. Take care. Okay, I'm going to do a little quick break, and then we'll be back to take our callers. In these days of stress, running around, responsibilities, we all need a little place to go to make it all better. Is that place sports, football, or maybe you like to garden, paint, or just listen to music? Wherever your happy place is, you can find a shirt or mug to reflect that happy place. At myhappyplace.rocks, we have a variety of lifestyle products, including iPhone cases, pajamas, and pet items, all with beautiful, colorful designs, which help us go to our happy place. Stop by on the web for great gift ideas for others and yourself. myhappyplace.rocks. Lenny Pickett appears courtesy of Random Act Records. Check them out at randomactrecords.com. Hey, we're back. My name is Shelley Overton, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Show on Blog Talk Radio. And, okay, I have callers. Actually, I should give my information. So I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and if you would like a personal reading, you can get me at astrologerangel.com. I am also on Facebook. I'm on everything. I'm on Google+. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Just everything. So you can find me at Astrologer Angel on Facebook and also AstroEnergy on Facebook. And I post stuff all week long when the planets change, when they shift, when they aspect each other. Not every single one, but many. So I'm just throwing that out there. And let's see, I think that's all. And I know I've had Tom, and I don't think he hung up, but he still has a little hand out. Let me double check on this. Nope, that's it. Okay, so we'll go to the next caller, 202. Hi, 202. Who's this?
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
Caroline.
Hi, Caroline. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Real quick, your birthday's December 31st?
Yes.
Okay, I've got you here. What can I do for you today?
I just like listening to your show, and I was calling to say hi.
Hi. Hi,
Yeah.
I remember you live in a farmhouse, right?
Yeah, I just moved there. I
Awesome.
moved at the beginning of May.
Oh,
I'm
lovely.
I'm trying to restore it. It had really bad
Beautiful.
flood damage. Yeah.
Oh, no. Wow.
Do you live in I thought you lived in a farmhouse too.
I do. I live in a farmhouse, and it's a wonderful little place. I even have a cat that found me in my farmhouse. So I have a farm cat too.
Oh.
Yeah, little tomcat that I gotta get neutered here soon. But so let's see what you've got. You've got Mars going into your first house. Like Mars is just 2 degrees off of your rising sign at 25 Scorpio. So you've got some interesting stuff coming your way as well. And as soon as Mars goes into your sign of Sagittarius in your first house, he hits Uranus. So a lot of so the farmhouse definitely is part of that energy. You know, Uranus is autonomy, and in Sagittarius it's freedom and autonomy, and it's also real estate. So even more stuff's going to go on with that when Mars gets in your first house towards August. So, I see that probably turning into some type of financial advantage for a career, or definitely making money from the farm. Are you going to do things that bring in income on the farm?
Well, I would like to, but right now I'm battling trying to stay safe. I don't know if it's just me struggling. I don't know if it's, just trying to figure out how to, be safe because I'm anti-gun, and I don't believe in owning a gun. So, and I had a couple kind of, scare incidents, and so.
Well, I live in the country, too. Yeah. What was that? What'd you say?
Safety is, a big thing right now.
Well, when I moved to the country, it was interesting because, I lived in the suburbs. Most of my life I've lived in suburbs. And, I think of the suburbs as you've got noisy neighbors and they're mowing the lawn and this and that. And then I moved to the country and you have people out here who practice with their guns. And, at first it was a little disconcerting because I had not had exposure to, the constant noise of guns going off. But it's interesting because I did have kind of that similar fear when I first moved out here. Wow, this house is plunked down right in the middle of an acre, and there's not a lot of protection. When you're next to another house or in a townhome, you know that you have someone right on the other side of a wall or right, 10 feet away from you. But out here, they're kind of distanced. I mean, it's not that far. I've got people across the street and stuff. But it's wow, I feel kind of like a sitting duck here. Then I came to realize that if everyone around here has the guns, then everybody knows that everybody has guns, and there really is kind of a less likelihood, in my opinion, of people doing stuff to you out in the country because they take that risk when they attempt to do something to you out in the country. And I think they're more aware of it, you know what I mean? Everybody's got them. And, I am not a gun person at all. I mentioned it last week, but, when you're around it, you just, I guess, on some level, you have to learn to integrate it. And, you know, to me, that's how I've integrated it. It's like, well, everybody has them, so I know that anybody who might think of doing some harm knows that they take that risk. And so I don't know if that helps the fear at all.
Well,
I hope it does. Go ahead.
Well, my biggest concern is like kind of like the history that comes with the house. But I didn't know if you saw. I guess the reason I was just thinking about there was a young girl. She was a pageant, and they were doing her chart, and her chart or whatever was done by astrologers, and supposedly it was written in her chart that she would be murdered at a really young age. She was like born into like an affluent family, and I don't know her name, but the guy crawled into the window. Did you hear about that story about this young girl in America?
Can you tell me? This is New York State?
No, I don't remember. It was this little girl. It's like been all over the news. This really beautiful little girl. I just didn't know if you saw anything in my chart where I could, you know, dealing with intruders or on my.
I have a difficulty with that. Like, first off, I don't like to give a lot of information that would be potentially alarming on the show. It would be something that I would go over with you privately if there were anything. I might tell you to be cautious about something, but I wouldn't say, man, this looks like something's going to happen to you. You know, I mean, it would also be something that would take a little bit more time to really look at, because you have a lot of clusters of planets. And like you have a Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Libra, but to me that's like you have a really strong connection to energy around career and people you really want to be connected to a soul group of people who understand the relevance of relationships. That's what that would be. But there are planets and planetary things that I would look to. I don't necessarily see that for you, but it would be something that I could go over closer if you want it. I mean, I don't want to push I do readings, and I do it as a living, and so definitely I want people to call me and do readings, but it would be something I would prefer to do in a private reading for you. And it's not that I'm trying to force you into a reading privately, but it's something that, like, if you're really that concerned, I would go over that with you privately, because it's just not something I like to put out on the radio. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
that
I would
that
say.
Makes sense.
Definitely you're someone who wants things that are balanced, and Mars on Uranus and Sagittarius means that you're looking to have a lot of autonomy in your life. You want to go and do your thing and have it the way you want it, so it makes it increased energy around that. When I think that more what you're feeling right now, and I want to encourage you, is you have a tremendous ability towards mediumship in your chart. You have Jupiter and Scorpio in your chart, and you have the Mars transit through your 12th house, and Jupiter is in your 12th house. So you are able to really pick up, and I would honestly say that part of what you're feeling is did something like that happen in the house you're in? Is that what you're saying? That someone was attacked and killed there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm just concerned about there's just a very heavy heroin epidemic in my area, and my neighbor is telling me that people go down. It's just I think the biggest thing is just I think for me to be happy, I have to also feel safe. That's all.
Right. Well, I would give you a lot of advice towards that end, and definitely, like, there are things in your chart that you're very in tune to other people's energy, and with Jupiter in the 12th house, that's the energy of drugs and, you know, escapism. So for me, drugs are just one way for people to escape their emotional reality. And so if you're tuning in your environment to that, definitely you need to start working with some energy work, you know, and you may already have done it, but I would do a crystal grid around your home I'm trying to remember. I know one was hematite. I know you can use black salt, which is, I mean, I asked for it when I first found out black salt is a good protection. It isn't anything evil or dark. I asked at the metaphysical bookstore I got because I don't want to do anything that would be like black magic or anything. So I asked about that. But black salt is just a protection, and it is not anything that could be dangerous in that way. So you would just sprinkle black salt all the way around the perimeter of your property. I would probably also look it up on YouTube and see if you could find someone who gives advice on any more to do it. I just did it as a means of putting like a energetic barrier around the property.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
so you can do that.
It's funny
and then,
that you, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
When I don't know if this is true or if it's even possible, but I kind of like, I feel like I sort of like when I walk into like an area, a room, because I also clean houses for a living,
Okay. Uh-huh.
I feel like I have the ability to pick up energy in certain places. Anyway, on my property, like when I drove into the driveway, this feeling of like I was in a different time zone, like in a different, it's like this weird, I don't know, I can't even describe it in words, but it was almost like I was, like there's something really different about being there at that moment. Different than like, say I was at McDonald's, which is like 10 miles away, and I don't know if it's because there aren't a lot of people there, or it's just very strange. I don't know if areas that are less occupied start to have like a different energetic frequency. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a place called Casadega that's in Florida. It's a spiritualist camp, and I went with a few friends walking through the whole town, and there was no one out. And it had the strangest vibe that day when we walked through. There was no one, like, there was no one getting in and out of a car, no children on the street, no people walking around in that area. I mean, they were all, the people who came for readings, because it's a place where you get mediumship readings and stuff like that, they were in the main little one block of the town that's a downtown. But the houses surrounding it, there was no sign of life out there. There weren't even birds flying by. It was weird. So I absolutely believe that there are energies that are out there, or lack of energy, that are very pointedly different. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a strange energy with this house. I did a sage cleaning in my house, and I did I guess like a prayer to ask for forgiveness for anything that might be in my generational line that harmed anyone, because I believe that
that's beautiful.
Those things that, even though I might not have hurt anyone, I believe that if I had a brother or somebody else, so I did like a prayer, and I think it kind of helped, but I feel like there's still, I just feel like there's so much more I still could do to make it a more safe place for me, and I'm thankful that you told me about black salt, and I'm just trying to, there's so much I feel like I don't know that I'd like to learn that could be really helpful, and it doesn't have to be about violence. I think there's like other ways that to stay safe, I guess.
Right. Well, personally, I mean, you can sage the place, but energy can still reappear if you don't do it more frequently. I know I need to sage my place much more frequently, and I'll probably do it today after I talk to you about this. But definitely don't just say I saged it and then like, okay, it's saged. Do it again. Like, I mean, I know some mediums and people in the energy arts definitely do it like every day. I can't do it every day, but it's, hold on, I'm sorry. There we go. Anyway, I would do it more frequently, and I think that it does clear the energy out, but you have to keep on it, because if there are malefic spirits or energy around there, they may go away, but they can come back afterwards. So, it's like they don't like the energy and the sage, but once it dissipates and you start having people in your house, or you start doing things, and then like you are very psychic, you may open up to other energies just because you're so in tune. I would do it more frequently. I mean, probably a minimum of once a week if you don't want to do it every day.
Yeah, I do it just for me too because I feel like I pick up negative energy just going out and about my daily things. So I try to sage as much as I can. But yeah.
Well, I don't see anything in particular other than you need to just be aware of your environment and know what's out there. Let me see, 16. I would be more cautious about farm equipment or tools and stuff. Like, don't hurt yourself. That's kind of more of what I see in your chart right now. It's more about your physical. Like you have Pluto right near or about. It just went retrograde, so it's going back towards your sun. But when it goes direct, it's going to be near your Mercury, and Mercury is more about accidents in the physical body. So, I wouldn't necessarily straight up say anything more fearful. And again, if you want a private reading, please contact me, after the show. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Caroline. Talk to you later.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Okay. I have one more call that's been waiting for a long time, so I'm going to take a quick call, one question, and then we're going to wrap up the show. So 623. Hi, who is this?
Hello, this is Maria. Thank you
for
Maria.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Brother first.
Yeah, I've got you. I've got you. So what would you like to know real quick before we end the show?
About the job. If there is any possibility in the next month that I get a full-time job?
Oh, yeah. When Mars goes direct and gets into Sagittarius, it'll be directly on your natal Jupiter. And let me see, your Saturn is in Capricorn, and then Mars is going to be there. Saturn will be definitely by the end of August, it should be there. But when Mars goes direct, it's going to be huge because Mars is taking action, and it's the ability to get something from what you're taking action on. In other words, manifest based on your actions, so the cause and effect of it. And you've also got 25-degree Mars in Gemini in your career house, and Mercury is right on that as well. So I think, you're definitely putting the word out there, and people are paying attention. So I think it's going to take. Well, wait a minute. I also want to ask you: do you work out of the home, or can you work out of the home?
Yeah, I would do that if I
think that's more likely what's going to happen, because Mars is up there at 25, so it's late degree Gemini. You're definitely able to talk and do things electronically, which could open you up for things like virtual assistants, if you wanted to look into that. But then Mercury is going into Cancer. All that's in your house of career, the Cancer energy. Sun, Venus, and Mercury are going to be in Cancer, which is around the home. You also have Saturn just into your house of home and family by transit. You have a natal Saturn at the last degrees of home and family in Capricorn, which says that that's a huge, that's your life purpose is your Saturn, and that's in the home and family. And then, and actually, do you have any interest in doing home health care?
No, my interest is in teaching.
Okay, you could teach, but I would suggest if you do teach that you find something you could teach out of the home and put it out, because a lot of times parents are looking for, like especially homeschoolers, they're looking for, I don't know what you want to teach, but, when people homeschool, they have to fulfill certain requirements. And like for me as an artist, I've taught people who are homeschooled and their parents needed the art credit. So, you could do that. Definitely Mars is coming up on your house of home and family. It will be conjuncting Saturn August 24th, which is right before the school starts. And then that's in your house of home and family. And so it's around the home. Go ahead.
So Mars is going to be direct when exactly?
August 24th. It goes to 29th, which is tomorrow. But it will hit Sagittarius August 3rd, and it will be exactly on Saturn on the 24th of August, and Saturn will be a direct again in August as well. Saturn goes direct August 12th or 13th. So 2 weeks into August, 3 weeks into August, it looks like if you're wanting to do education, not only is it astrologically primed for it, it's the beginning of the school year. So I would say if that's what you're wanting to do, definitely you're going to have something, especially after Mars goes direct and gets into Sagittarius at the beginning of August. So, all righty?
Okay. That's
well,
it.
thanks for the call. Take care. Okay.
Bye.
All right. Have a good day. Bye. And that is it for the show. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to talking to you next week. Please call in early if you have a question. It is 347-994-3365. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your move.